Nathanielkempson here again. I've had my tea, and yes, it was very nice. Thanks, Mum! Okay. In that last video, it was a little bit of a failure. I wasn't very explanatory about what I mean. When the N class was accidentally programmed to number 2, that was my fault. When you are programming locomotives, okay, nix that, scratch that. With analog control, if you have an analog, you're building a layout that is intended to be digital, not like mine, which is an analog layout converted to digital for a few days. All tracks need their own power source. I'll comment that later on. I shall see if I can. Well, actually, there might be a few other videos on YouTube that explain that. There is one chap, a certain Everard Junction, on the last years of BR channel on YouTube. Visit him; he's an amazing guy. He's got a digital layout like mine. I think he uses the Dynamis system. I don't know what he uses, but I don't think he uses the EZ command. Or it could be Hornby select. I don't know. Yeah, you need a constant voltage to the track, all tracks. And what you must be careful is when you buy a new locomotive, as I said before, they come out of the box ready programmed as number 3. That is the default setting. When you want to reprogram one locomotive, all other digital locomotives must be removed from all tracks everywhere. Because what accidentally happened here in the last video, as you saw, I was trying to reprogram the Hymec, and I also accidentally reprogrammed the N class as well. Not good. So be careful when you do that. Okay, and another thing, do not, I repeat, do not put analog locomotives on a digital layout. They do not like it. Okay? Now, I'm going to be very, very naughty here. Smokey Joe, I do apologise. If you were to put an analog locomotive on a digital layout, because digital, don't forget, kicks out. It's not actually 12 to 15 volts, it's lower than that. I think it's about 2 or 3 volts, I'm not quite sure. I'll look up on it. Kicks out a constant voltage. Not enough to make the analog loco move, but enough to do it some harm. Now listen to this. Don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's buzzing. If I was to leave little Smokey Joe on there all day long with that buzz, his motor would eventually burn out, and if not, catch fire or smoke. It would fry. That's not good. We do not want that happening to analog locomotives. So what you need to do is, if you're like me, you've converted your analog built layout to digital for a few days, because you can. Please, and I can't stress this enough, please make sure that all analog locomotives are somehow electrically dead from the rest of the layout. Doesn't matter if you just use a set of points to kill the power, or you can even use insulating brackets, plastic rail joiners. You can even put the locomotive on a piece of paper, as long as there is no current reaching the locomotive at all. Doesn't matter how you do it. Alright, I think I'm going to stop moaning and explain a few things that I said wrong in the last video. I think one of the things that I said wrong was about the digital signal it sends out. It does send out a signal, but honestly, if you've got, for example, the Hymec programmed as number 2, only that locomotive will move. As long as you've only got one locomotive programmed to each number. So, if we have a... I do apologise for this. If we have a look at the controller, you can see there are 10 buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 to 9 are... So, this little lot are digital buttons for locomotives only. Number 10 down here, as you can see, says, what does that say? Analog locomotive operation. That means exactly what it says. That means that if you press button number 10, you can run an analog loco on a digital layout. I highly advise that you don't do that. It still buzzes, but it allows you to operate it. Because if you had, for example, the controller button number 2 pressed, which I have already, ready for the high mech, and you put an analog locomotive on, no matter how many times you press the direction button, no matter how high you put up the voltage, turn the speed controller, only locomotive number 2 would move. The analog locomotive would only do 2 things. It would sit there and it would fry. Very, very slowly, but it would fry nonetheless. So, they are, well, in a way, digital is quite dangerous because, as I've said, it kicks out a constant voltage. And surprisingly, with this particular control system, the EZ Command Control Center, it's very, very easy to determine a short circuit. Now, I am going to purposely make a short circuit over here. Now, can you hear the little buzzing? That is the controller. Whoa. I highly advise that you don't do that, because I don't think the camera actually picked it up or not. You can hear it buzzing and sparking. See? Now, that buzzing basically tells you I'm short-circuiting, and what you do to resolve that is you press the stop button, which is the red button on the top left-hand corner of the control center, and that cuts all power to the track anywhere. So you can find where the short circuit's happening, solve the short circuit. It could be a bit of rail or a screw or a track pin or even a derailed locomotive or carriage or wagon. Correct it, hit the stop button again, and if it's still shorting, cut the power completely by turning it off at the wall. Remove every item of locomotive and every item of rolling stock and plug it in again, and you work your way from there. It's a really simple way of doing it, and I thank Backerman for that, because when it shorts, it beeps at you, as you heard before. And another thing with digital you've got to be careful with is not just locomotives that can be operated by digital. Points can too, but not on the EZ control system. Okay, you just told all my viewers that. Isn't that nice? I'll cut the cat out. Alright, ignore that. That never happened. What was I saying? Yes, points. The EZ system, you can't actually, I don't think you can anyway, do points with the EZ system. But you can using the ZTC control system. That's a very handy little device. And I think if I go digital, that'll be the system I get, because you can have up to 16 locomotives controlled at any one time. But with the EZ system, EZ command system from Bachmann, you can only have one locomotive controlled at a time. Now, on a simple layout like this, you only need one at a time anyway. Just makes things complicated. Okay, that's it for now. I'll shut up, watch this through, edit it, and upload it to YouTube. And the next video, I promise, we'll be watching some antics on the line. I promise you. Okie dokie. Nathanielkempson signing off. See you later, alligator. I've got no idea what that was.